You're listening to the Basic Black Podcast.
The Kamala Harris answer to this is to take law-abiding American citizens' guns away from them. The states with strict gun laws, they have a lot of school shootings. And the states without strict gun laws, some of them have school shootings too. So clearly strict gun laws is not the thing that is going to solve this problem. I don't like this. I don't like to admit this. I don't like that this is a fact of life.
School shootings. Are we immune to it now? I think we're not immune. I think we're in denial. Hey, what's going on? It's Reggie with the Basic Black Podcast, and we're going to trend away from the Umar news and everything else that's happening in our little conscious sphere right now. And I think more importantly, we need to look at current events, and this one being the school shootings that has just occurred in Minneapolis. Should we be surprised? I'm going to go ahead and say no. And if you are surprised and stunned, then you have been far removed from anything that has a connection to reality. Point blank, period. Simply. What we are experiencing now is just a continued sign of the times. And it's only going to get worse because, as you know, there has been nothing done to curb school shootings except COVID. COVID was that one little window when we didn't have school shootings, not because there was better laws, not because there were better safeguards put in place, that they were using the more law enforcement in the schools, or even now that we sending the National Guard out to schools to prevent children from being unalived. No, it took a pandemic that killed millions of individuals to make us want to curb this. And the funny part about it is, or I shouldn't say funny, the ironic part about this is the fact that it really made people think that maybe school should be better done at home. Maybe. But obviously there's going to be families that don't have the resources to do that. But I digress from that point. We can go back, and some of the listeners might not even been alive when Columbine happened. And you can look at everything from Columbine and Dylan Klebold to Dylan Roof. Then you can now look at Robin Westman. But we have to be honest in saying that when you look at the lineage of school shootings that has happened in the United States, the picture of the shooter seems to have some sort of commonality. And we all know what that is. Now, I can't say it's always them. I'm just going to pick a group and say, it's always Caucasians that does this. No, because that's not true. What the issue is, it seems that the way that you water your yard and your grass truly says what type of plants you grow. It seems that people have become very hands-off in raising their children. People have become very much so just put into a corner to where they would just rather let YouTube or let X or let Instagram and all these social media applications and whatnot parent their children. And then you have to fight the fact that these parents are pretty much so in the same sphere as the children. So I can say, well, these children were abused, or these children were neglected, or whatever or whatnot. And that covers nothing, because There was something that cared about them, but it was a negative influence. And so once all these things happen, you would think that just like 9/11, the country would come together and say, we have a tragedy and we need to fix it. But alas, that did not happen once again. And I'm sorry if you feel like you've been let down. Womp, womp, womp. Because simply put, we now live in a failed state more than ever. When you look at the NRA, the National Rifle Association, you see that they aren't in the business of stopping shootings in schools. Time after time, everything, Columbine, Sandy Hook, all these different shootings where hundreds of lives, Uvalde, where hundreds of lives have been lost, they remain quiet. Are you surprised? I'm not. And now, even when we move into a new administration and we sit back and we question them, and the statement that still echoes in my mind is listening to Vice President J.D. Vance basically say that school shootings are just a fact of life. You don't believe me? Look it up. Google it. Do whatever you need to do. He's sitting at a podium telling us what can we really do about school shootings? Just a fact of life. And now these facts seem to come back every once in a while to remind us where we're moving to. And if you look at the actions of Robin Westman, you'll see that if you had a chance to see the pictures of his firearm collection, when he was displaying magazines, he had very racial statements on each magazine. He covered everything pretty much so that would outline the worst of a hate crime. And remember, we had a mass shooting to where, I think it was in Michigan, where basically on the firearm, you had him write racial statements as in, here are your reparations and here's this and that and die you N-words. And even with that, it didn't get classified as a hate crime. The value of life is less than the value of money. So why do you think that anything is going to change? It's the day after. And nobody has said anything in the administration in regards of gun legislation, gun control, or anything. And if you're expecting to hear that, you're sadly mistaken. Truly, sadly mistaken. What I hope for everybody is that they put on their social action cap and stop just being a keyboard warrior and really would have to impact change. The reason you haven't seen change because you have a administration, not just this one, many administrations past where the value was being put in being a lobbyist and then going out and then fighting for dollars for your own pocket and your own party over making sure that your constituents are taken care of. So I can't tell you what the solution is going to be next to you have to get off your ass. I can't tell you how the world's going to get greater and better because we are in a cycle of hate that it cannot be repaired. Ladies and gentlemen, just know that the world that we live in, if you did not know, pardon my language, is fucked. Just understand that. And as we go into another shooting, just understand that there will be more because nothing will be done until we do something or we say something or we make something happen from nothing. My prayers go out to the victims of the shooting in Minneapolis. And I hope that they can find comfort which I know would be difficult, and this is speaking for someone who has lost a child himself, I hope that there can be some peace and some understanding and some lesson learned from this so we can not have to revisit this time and time again. A quick little podcast in regards to this. We need to do better, people. We need to do better, America. We need to focus on solutions and not just problems. Thank you for listening. This is Reggie with the Basic Black Podcast. Like, subscribe, and follow, and I'm out. Peace, y'all.